Hey folks, so I was sitting at home real depressed tonight, so I figured I better go for a ride. So start cruising around and just stop this parking lot here for a minute. Then I'm going to head down under the bridge because there's always addicts down there or people just hanging out trying to stay warm and that. Figured I'd just go down there and just look for some conversation. And yeah. So, better than sitting home alone, I guess. My head was about to explode and just been struggling a shit ton lately. And that's okay. A lot of physical pain as usual and just depression and PTSD and all that stuff. But, in the world I live in that I don't see a lot of people that understand what my mental health is. That, with all the PTSD and all that stuff, the only people I've ever spoken to that really truly understand is a lot of military folks and stuff like that. And but anyway, I was thinking tonight about how the government totally screwed us back in the day when COVID was around, and and they locked us down for that almost 4 years. And anyway, that completely destroyed my life. And before COVID happened, I spent years building my career, and I mean working my ass off, doing 7, 8, 9 gigs a week, going out speaking everywhere, going to communities all over the country and Europe, Africa, everywhere, and just trying to to build my ministry and build what I'm doing and stuff, and put my message out there and teaching where I can. Share my testimony, whatever it is I need to do. And anyway, as soon as COVID ended, I figured, man, right before COVID, I was doing so well. I was actually getting ahead on everything, and I had a good income coming in from all my book sales and from all the speaking events and contracts with the government and working partnerships with different entities and stuff across the country, just trying to work in the communities and stuff. And so when COVID ended, I figured, it's all going to bounce back. It'll all come back again. People are not going to forget and all that stuff. And I went right back to like it was day one of my career, and I've been struggling to rebuild everything again. And because it was so long that COVID dragged on, and the lockdowns and all that stuff, everybody. Oh, great! Here comes. I picked a good spot. I picked a spot with the train. Anyway, so when COVID ended, like I said, is it still going? Anyway, so when COVID ended, like I said, I had hoped that I could bring my career back, and it just didn't work. And then there was so many promises from so many people, and everybody thought they could help, but nothing ever transpired of any talks or anything else. Everything just led to zero. And there's so many times over the last few years, after COVID, that I got a lot of hope up on different things, like moving back out east, different things like that, and everything went kaplop. And so my career never rebuilt. Didn't stop me though. I just said, okay, well, what is my career? My career is teaching. My career is trying to put a message out there and stuff. So I said, if I can't be there in person, if I'm not getting bookings anymore and stuff like that, then I need to start writing again. I need to start putting all my energy into telling my stories and sharing, my message and stuff through my books and through writing, through poetry, through writing my books, to now all of a sudden I'm writing kids' books. And I got to tell you, and like I said to some of my pals and stuff, that writing these children's books has been is that going to be another train? Dang it, it's another train. I picked a bad spot. Holy moly. Okay, go away, train. So anyway, like I said, I put a lot of energy in my other books and stuff, in teaching, telling stories and all that stuff. But but the problem is it was draining me. It was making me more depressed. It was giving me, making my PTSD worse, telling those old stories and different things like that. And so I started making these kids' books, and one was just out of that heck of it. It was like a joke, more or less a joke, having a bit of fun or whatever. And then when I made it and I saw it, maybe this could be something. So I put the first one out. Yeah, I only sold a few or whatever, but that's okay. Because I'm not able to get out there to market them. I'm not able to get to events, because when I spoke at events, I sold out of all my books all the time, which was fantastic because that was my main income. Anyway, so I put that kid's book out there, and it cost me a fair bit. Like, if it wasn't for, people to help me out sometimes, and that, I would be screwed right now. Anyway, well, I am kind of screwed, but anyway, I say anyway a lot, don't I? But what ended up happening was I made that first one, and then I'm like, okay, well, I can make a second one. Let's make a second one so it's a series. And then I made this other one named Puffin Man. And the thing is, and now I've got 2 other books of poetry completely done, a volume 1 and a volume 2. And, I'm at 18 books now that I've written, and 8 of those have been in the last few months. And so, I'm putting the work in and stuff like that. Now, people think because I keep producing all these books, well, I must have money in the bank. I must be doing well and all that stuff, because it's not cheap to print books. Now, let me tell you something. All right? That's far from the truth. Being creative is something you got to do for your own mental health when you have my issues and stuff. So I keep writing this stuff. Now, when I get these things written and they're done and they're ready to go to print, I know it's going to cost a lot of money to set it up. I know it's going to cost money for the formatting. It's going to cost money to put everything together, especially kids' books, because they're full color illustrated. So I know it's going to take a lot of money to do these things. And, what you consider a lot of money, what I consider a lot of money is 2 different things, because, for me, $20 is a lot of money right now. Back in the day when I was a gangster, a couple of grand a day or more, just nothing. It was just pennies. But, the reality is today, I don't live that way anymore. And so every dime is precious. Anyway, when I say it as an entrepreneur, as a small business and stuff like that, and as a writer and a creative person, I don't want to give up and go on to something different. I don't want to give up my ministry. I don't want to give up my message. So I have to do it. I have to struggle. I have to put these books out. I have to make these things happen. And I have to see my goals come to completion, because I'm not a quitter. As much as I want to commit suicide days, and different things like that, I still don't quit. I keep moving on. People that know me, but here I am. I'm going to print these books and all this stuff, and I literally sell a lot of what I own. I've put a lot of sacrifice into these things, so it's not paying the Cogeco bill, the internet and stuff. It's not paying the phone. It's not eating for a couple of weeks. It's, like right now, I don't have money for food and stuff like that, but I do it anyway, and right now, I've got Puffin Man. That's a new kids book series I want to put out. It's sitting there on my desktop. It's driving me nuts. I want to put it out, and it's literally only, less than $500 to get to finish paying off, sending it to print. But I need to accomplish these things, and some of these kids' books, they bring me so much joy, because it feels like I'm moving forward past the stories, past those deep books that talk about all the pain and different things like that. Like, I can move on now, and I'm moving on making these kids' books, and they're happy, and they're jokingly good, and they have a simple message, for kids and stuff like that. And there's nothing I love more than making these. They're just really so much fun to make. And so I need to put this Puffin Man one out. I need to finish it and get it out there. In the meantime, I'm living in a city I don't want to be in. We all know that. I don't have anybody here. I see somebody, my friends I see once every few months, if I'm lucky. And, occasionally I might go to a book club, little book club group, Christian book club group there. That's every 2 weeks, but I don't often go. And just because I don't know, I just don't feel it sometimes. And it's hard when you've isolated yourself for so long that it's really hard to actually start going outside the door. Just the smallest things like going to the drugstore or the pharmacy to get my medication tonight. Just doing anything is becomes really complicated. And just that isolation takes a hold of your head, and it's not worth the effort to go outside. You convince yourself it's not worth the effort. You're going to meet somebody, you're going to be in a bad mood, you're going to do something stupid and end up in jail or something, which is not the truth. And, so I'm sitting in this parking lot right now. Thank God. I had to force myself to come out here, but luckily I had to go get my medication anyway. And I look rough. I know I haven't shaved and I'm unkempt. I understand that. But you know what? Just getting outside tonight, I should say, is a big effort on my part. Believe me, because I'd rather just obviously stay home. Anyway, all this to say that just because in social media, like at Facebook and stuff, it looks like I'm doing really well because I'm putting out all these books and stuff. I'm not actually doing well. I'm going further and further in the hole every time I put a book out. And if it wasn't for a friend, I'd literally be starving right now. I wouldn't have, I'm not doing well right now, but like last month and stuff like that, if somebody didn't help me, I would have been completely done. Like, it's only my faith in God, that God's going to provide no matter what. Could I go back to a life of crime? Could I sell dope again? Could I do this? Yeah, of course I could. And I can make a ton of money doing it because that's, I know how to survive. But I'm trying to survive with my faith now and believing that God's going to take care and provide. And, the city I live in, it's terrible. I mean, rent is a few $1,000s a month. Groceries is, at the cheap, it's $400 a month. That's really cheap. That's getting by good. And then you got the internet, phone, you got all these other things. And for a single man, that's outrageous. I mean, for a family, I can understand, but just for a single man to have to pay that much money every month is ridiculous. And for me to find support and stuff looking like I do, and coming from my background and that makes it 10 times harder. But I don't give up. I still keep going. And I know I post a lot that I want to give up. I post a lot that I wish, I would go to bed and never wake up again. But you know what? It's that putting that next book out. It's writing that next poem or writing that next song. I mean, in the last 2 months, I wrote over 160 songs. And two volumes of books of poetry and stuff. So it's not like I'm not trying. I just don't see it going anywhere right now. I'm running into a wall every time, and it just makes me feel pathetic and useless, and makes me feel like a bum because it's not what I'm doing is not supporting me. It's not paying the bills. It's not putting food on the table. It's just barely making me enough that I can, almost do the next project or whatever. But I'm having faith that God's going to see the next title through, and I'll be able to produce that and put it out, without having to sell more of my stuff. It sucks, but that's the thing. That's the struggle, and that's what it is, and that's what it is to have faith, I guess. You do it. No matter how uncomfortable it is, you just friggin' do it. And no matter how empty you feel, and how stupid you feel and pathetic you feel, because you can't go out and do the things like all your friends do. You can't go to a concert. You can't go to the restaurant. You know what I mean? You can't do all those things that give you quality of life. Like, I literally can't leave my house. I haven't for a long time because, I can't afford to. I had to pinch every penny. But tonight, I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah, I can't sit in auditoriums anymore speaking to thousands of people. And it didn't matter if I was speaking to 12 people or thousands of people, and stuff. That didn't matter. And I just started thinking that, you know what? My audience is one. I just need to go sit under the bridge or whatever. Just go find an attic somewhere, and they're easy to find, even in a city that I live in, which is supposed to be, clean and free of all that. But you go down the street here, you're still going to find addicts. You're still going to find the thieves and the prostitutes and everybody else. It's just that most people can't see them, and they don't understand what's happening. in the moment, and I do. So I can go to these people and I can speak to these people, and whether they look at my bike and say, hey, the cool bike, what's that all about? We start a conversation, or they say something about my tattoos, opens the door. We have lots of conversations. That's why I never regretted my tattoos once ever. Most people might think they look stupid and I look stupid, but you know what? It's opened the doors for me to be able to help so many people over the years that I've got no regrets at all. And anyway, I guess that's all I want to say. All I want to say is just, I got out tonight. I'm really grateful that I was able to go outside tonight and take a ride around. It's nice and chilly out now. Winter's coming on, which is my favorite time of year because I like it cold. I can't stand the heat at all. I would rather be up in the Arctic or a nice cold place, on the ocean in Newfoundland. And that's great. But anyway, I'm carrying on, even though, like I said, I don't want to be here. I got to make the best of it. And even though, that, like they say, the struggle is real, but, hopefully I'll be able to get the next book project done, and then that'll just give me a reason to carry on, to make the next goal, to make the next whatever, and because every time I produce one of these books and I get that proof copy in my hand, and here comes the train again. I get to say, I did it. I accomplished it, despite the situation, despite everything going on around me, and everything, physical pain, the financial struggles, the spiritual struggles, all this stuff. Despite all that, I still managed to do this one thing. I managed to produce this one book. I did this one thing, and long after I'm dead and gone, this will be in the archives, the Library of Archives of Canada, whatever. It'll be out there where, maybe someday in a school somewhere or whatever, somebody will pick up that book or pick up that children's book or whatever, and it does something for them, or it helps them in some way or encourages them. Then you know what? All the struggling is well worth it. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble. And again, sorry for looking rough and stuff like that. I don't see the point in getting shaved up and all that stuff if I'm not really going anywhere. But anyway, God bless you all, and thanks for listening to me ramble.